Let's begin with the informal meditation. Again, there are certain common features. We take a posture and do 3 sets of breathing cycle, and then recite this short mantra, Om Satchidananda. Let's do 3 sets of 3 breathing cycles. Deep breathe out. Hold the breath out. Then breathe out. Hold it out. Breathe in. Hold it within. One more last cycle. Breathe out. Hold it out. Breathe in. Hold it within. Now we are on the normal breathing pattern. We become unaware of breathing. We are not concerned with it. Om Satchidananda. 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 We can now gradually open our eyes. Last week we were on the second chapter of Patanjali Yoga Sutra. We had introduced the term clash. Today we will move on slight discussion on clash, which was tentatively translated as ignorance. We had seen second chapter says that Samadhi Bhavanartha Klesh Tanukar. Kriya Yoga will benefit in two terms. One will have genuine interest and qualification for Samadhi, and also Klesh will be diminished. What is that Klesh? Now that is being described by Patanjali in third statement. Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesh, Abhinivesha, Klesha. He is listing 5 terms and he says they are called as Klesh. I have tentatively translated as ignorance, but I think now the better translation should be, again, that is not quite very good, cause of suffering, for the simple reason that one of these 5, very first one, is described as avidya, which is ignorance. So avidya is ignorance. So I will say the 5 klesh is better to call it as cause of suffering. So what are those 5 members of klesh? Avidya, in my translation it is ignorance. Asmita, I-ness. The rag is described as attachment, dvesh as aversion, and then abhinivesha, clinging to life. So simple translation of this third statement is ignorance, I-ness, attachment, aversion, and clinging to life are 5 kleshas. That is what, as you will recall, Kriya Yoga is for second level of human beings, where the mind is not very superior, one level below that, which has embedded clash in it. So those clash could be one of these 5 types, which in the later statement is describing each of them. So let's move on. The statement number 4 says, Avidya kshetyam uttayesham prasupt tanu vichin udayanam. So now he singles out avidya as if that is the root cause of other 4 kleshas. The translation is ignorance, avidya is the field where other kleshas, other 4, germinate. And they can be in one of the 4 states. I may have the clash, but it can be dormant, minuscule, overpowered, or weakened. For example, there is a clash like attachment. One of them I will say it is emotion of lust, what an adult man or woman has towards one another. Now let's look at a small child, 4 or 5 year old. He has that clash of lust probably, but it is in dormant state, pasuk. When he will grow up to become an adult, then it might show up, isn't it? So, that's why he's saying you may have a clash, but it could be in one of those 4 possible states, dormant, or for the same child, as he is becoming a adolescent, now it is minuscule for. He is now adult, but at one point he's getting angry. So the emotion of lust has been overpowered by anger. So, I'm just giving an example of what are these four possible states. They are within us, but they are not that visible. Weakened in the sense, let's say, I continue with that same example, lust. Now, say he sees his sister, then there is natural, pure love, genuine love, and not lust. So that emotion of lust has been weakened. So these are possible ways to look at it, not just lust, any kind of human emotion which could go in the overall family of rag, attachment to money, attachment to power, so many things are there. So statement number 4 was that it is basically ignorance, and that will be described later in the next statement, which gives rise to all the other four. The I-ness, attachment, aversion, and clinging to life. Let's move on. The statement number 5, Patanjali is saying, Anitya, Ashuchi, Dukha, Anatmasu. He's listing four words, so I have tabulated it. On the left side, this is Anitya, is non-eternal, Asuchi is impure, Dukh is pain or suffering, Anatmasu is unconscious. That's my translation, as good as I could do it. Then on the right side is Nitya Shuchi Sukha Atma Khyati Avidya. So basically the statement is the four on the left side, when they are treated as four on the right side, then that is the ignorance of a human being. In other words, to consider a non-eternal thing as eternal, like I own a huge house, several $1 million, and I teach it is a permanent thing for me, isn't it? Everybody knows these are transient things. They are there, one day they will not be there. But we treat a lot of our such things as eternal, though they are non-eternal. Impure, say I get attracted to a young beautiful woman, looks like purity, but of course we all know it. Within the inner part of the body, it's all the same kind of stuff, which is not quite pure. So these are, you get carried over in your day-to-day life without realizing those the real things, and that's what is your ignorance. Pain and suffering, of course, at a later stage, he will say, for a wise man, all the sensual objects are cause of pain. But of course, as a common human being, we look at a lot of things as some nice, delicious dish. We think it is cause of, it will give me pleasure, isn't it? But we know it is not quite a source of pleasure, because if you you eat it again and again, overeat it, at one point it does become a cause of pain. So if it was always a cause of pleasure, it should have always been a cause of pleasure. So, for Patanjali, any object which is a material object is essentially a cause of pain, and that he will describe in a more forceful manner a couple of weeks from now. But today we also know it. Yes, many things we get attracted to, we think that they are cause of pleasure, but it turns out that they cause more pain. Unconscious as conscious, like I am breathing, somebody is sleeping and he is breathing, so we say the body is conscious. Actually, body is not conscious. Body is an unconscious aggregate of matter. The consciousness is something else, but we think like that, we say like that. So these are the this is description of what he calls avidya, ignorance, and which is the cause of all other kleshas, which will be described now one after another. Now we are on the second one, which was asmita, I had translated as I-ness. Now let's look at that one. So statement 60 is Dig Darshan Shaktyo Ekatmatev Asmita. I go back again to my uh, instance example of the thumb in the fist. So where the soul is that point-like singularity enveloped in a shell of mind, isn't it? So the inner part of that mind screen is called chitta. Now chit is the instrument which makes me observe what's going on in the world, and I am the observer, isn't it? So it is like a my eyes are instrument to see, but they are not the observer, isn't it? I see through my eyes. It's not that my eyes are seeing somebody. I am seeing somebody through my eyes. So my eyes are instrument. In the same way as we go inside, the chit is my instrument, that mind screen, which is what is darshan shakti, and dik is I am the observer. So, deep in our common sense thinking, a person may say that as if they two are bonded together. He is not able to discriminate these two entities, that the observer and the instrument which makes me observe, they are two different distinct entities. So when they become just one, that is considered as asmita klesh, which is, of course, we are all part of that. I have given an example of a famous French philosopher, and I'm not criticizing him, just giving you an example. So let me put my translation of second point six. Instrument to observe, chitta, is treated as the observer, the soul, the me. That is the clash of I-ness, the asmita clash. Here I give an example of René Descartes. He has a famous statement. I may not remember the French words clearly, it translates as I think, therefore I am. So, from Patanjali's point of view, thinking is an operation I am doing at mind level. So, now you are a practitioner of meditation and you have hit that blank, blind spot once in a while. So, you know it that there is a state of your own state when mind is void of any thought, isn't it? You are familiar with that thing. So, imagine you are in that state. So, you are not thinking anything, but you still are there. You have awareness of yourself, isn't it? So Descartes' statement doesn't is not valid at that point of time. When somebody is deep in meditation, you have no thinking, there are no thoughts, but still you are there, isn't it? So here his statement is saying, yes, I exist because I think. So it's not quite a valid statement, but I will say that is an example of this clash where the observer and the instrument to observe, chit and soul, have been embedded together as one. Now we move on to the third clash, which is called rag, and his statement number 7 is Sukhanushayi raga. Sukh is pleasure, sensual pleasure. Dukh, which will come in the next statement, is pain, which is due to the sense organs. We have five senses and they bring an experience to us. When it is to my liking, I say it is sukh. When it is not to my liking, I say it is dukh, pain and pleasure. These are very subjective in nature. That's why the philosophers always try to navigate us. This is not real, the life. You have to go much further inward. So that's what meditation is. Well, talking about sukha and dukh, pleasure and pain, I might say that because now you are slightly halfway through your meditation practice, you will appreciate it. When I am functioning with, I am the soul, and my instruments are body and mind. When I am functioning through both the domains of body and mind, I am active, then I am likely to have one spectrum. On one side is Sukh, pleasure, and on the other side it is Dukh, or in between somewhere, isn't it? So, as a human being, when I am functioning through the instruments of body and mind, I will be like a pendulum between Sukh and Dukh, somewhere in this spectrum. Then we are able to see, if I withdraw my consciousness from my body and I am just active in my mind domain, like I am dreaming in sleep or daydreaming, whatever you call it, then again, as far as my experience is concerned, it has a wide spectrum. I may have calm, peaceful mind, or I may be a bit agitated, disturbed mind. We will say in Sanskrit, Shanti or Shanti, isn't it? You may feel peace of mind, or you may be disturbed mind, isn't it? Again, there is a wide spectrum of duality. And that is what now you will probably appreciate, that in that is the objective of meditation, that I disconnect from mind as well. So when I disconnect from body and mind both, and for that it becomes necessary that mind is absolutely blank void of thought. Your car is stopped, then only you can disconnect from your car, isn't it? If your car was moving, nobody would like to disconnect from his car. He will hurt himself. So, in the same way, you can disconnect from your mind only when you are inactive, isn't it? And that is what we attempt to do in meditation. And then there is no duality. You are not between Sukh and Dukh or Shanti and Ashanti. That is a very unique state, which is just what is called Anand, blissfulness. So if somebody asks you, why are you learning meditation? Of course, you have different answers for peace of mind, for so many things. Deep breathing, and that gives you better health, better sleep, better focus. So many things are there. But at a philosophical level, Patanjali is attempting to take you to a point where you will feel good only, good. Kapil has made a very powerful statement, Samadhi Sushupti Moksheshu Brahmyupta. What he's saying is, when you are in Samadhi, deep state of meditation, you are bound to feel very good. That is a very powerful statement. Imagine somebody telling you, if you do this, you are bound to enjoy. That is what Kapil and Patanjali are trying to say. It's a very, I find it as a profound statement. Somebody saying, if you do this, you are bound to enjoy it, because there is no such life experience. If you do it, that you will always enjoy it. But that is the power of deep meditation. That is what we are learning. Anyway, I have digressed from the word Sukh and Dukh. I took you too far from Sukh Dukh to Shanti and Ashanti, and also to the Anand, that blissfulness. Let's come back to seventh statement, Sukhanushayi Raga. So Sukh may I have described, these are sensual pleasures, which is when the body is connected to an object of pleasure, which I assign it as a pleasant object. It's very subjective. What you find pleasant, somebody else may not find pleasant. That is another thing. Having digressed so far, when it comes to Sukha and Dukh, Shanti and Ashanti, there is a non-universality. It is subjectivity. But when you come to Anand, that is absolute pleasure, that is universal, that is that has no element of subjectivity. Everybody there will like it, and that is what day-to-day life we experience it. It is called Sushupti, deep sleep. When anybody comes out of deep sleep, everybody says that was good. So Sushupti is something where is for available to a common man also, unless you ruin your life very much that you don't also have good sleep. But meditation is a step above that, and that's what we are learning here to have conscious taste of that anand. In Sushupti, we are in blackout. We just have a vague idea. We were taken somewhere out of the world, but it was beautiful. When we come out, it we feel it fresh. So meditation is real-time taste of that absolute pleasure. What is anand, which is universal, objective, void of element of subjectivity. Coming back to this, Sukhanushayi Raga. So, an object of pleasure which I have experienced, which gave me some pleasure, and I assign it as a pleasant object. Now it is no more there. It is no more visible or no more in my easy reach. I am sitting for meditation, but my mind is wandering about that. My mind is thinking about. Anushaya means going after that, isn't it? It doesn't exist here anymore. I enjoyed eating something last night. It is no more in front of me, but I think I want to go for meditation, but my mind is thinking about that, isn't it? So that is called raga. The temptation is there, and the mind is craving for that. Opposite of that is dvesh, dukhanusayi dvesha. So let me read my translation. 2.7 is tendency to follow the object of pleasure is attachment. And similar statement, dukhanusayi dvesha, something was unpleasant to you, something was painful to you, or you find meeting with somebody is not to your liking, you want to avoid it. So now tendency to avoid the objects giving pain, again it is subjective, is called dvesh, aversion. That is 2.8. 2.9 is a bit very subtle. Let me read his statement. Swarasvahi vidusho api tatharudho abhinivesha. Abhinivesh is a very superfine clash, which of course everybody has it, and he's saying it vidusho api. What he's saying, even learned people have it. They don't realize it probably, but it is had it. What is it? Swarasvahi, as if the feeling that my existence will perpetuate. Of course, in day to day life, we plan so many things. We plan for next hour, next day, next month, next year. Of course, the assumption is I will be living that time. I will live next year. That's why I'm planning for that. So we always assume I will be living next moment and next day, but you know it, one may die even very next second, isn't it? But we never think of that. That suppose I die tomorrow, we always plan. Suppose I live tomorrow, then what will I do? So this is a kind of it's a survival instinct. Of course, survival instinct is we are born with for a very good purpose that yes, we attain the objectives of life, but that same survival instinct can become a hurdle, can become an obstruction when I assume that I am going to live and I like that life force so much that that become more important than objectives of life. Living is more important than objective of living. So this is very subtle, but Patanjali is pointing out that this is also a clash. I think I want to end it here today. That we have just looked at this, what kleshas are, which was came in the very first chapter, fifth statement, with panchtaya klishta klishta. But then Patanjali didn't define klesh; he postponed it to the second chapter, and here we have learned a bit of that. I think let's move on now. Today I want to discuss sleep, which is very important. Of course, in our Ayurveda also, Chayak Samhita mentions for good health, bhojan, nidya, and brahmacharya. The food, sleep, and brahmacharya, living a life without lust. So these three are the cornerstones of good health, and that is good to see that even in modern life, though we have deviated a lot from natural tendencies, sleep is still considered very sacred by all, even common human being. So let's look at some of these features, and I think sleep I will be discussing at least three occasions in this course. And as you have seen from Kapil's statement, Shushupti Samadhi Moksheshu Brahmrupta, he is talking in the same length, deep sleep as well as meditation, deep meditation. So there is a lot of similarity, and it's a very wonderful thing to look at it. So it is nature's gift, as we know it. Day is to work and night is to rest, because my instruments of body and mind, as I am using during the day, they get tired, and towards later in the evening, I feel I am very much tired. Then I am overpowered by a natural force, whether I like it or not, I find I am sleeping, isn't it? So that is a kind of mandatory. It is forced upon me, but it is so important. That's why it is forced upon me. When I go to sleep, if I have good sleep, no dreams also, then body and mind are getting quality rest, and then next morning I am refreshed. So that is the cycle of day and night, and we all experience it every day. Meditation is similar to sleep. When in sleep also we are making body and mind at rest, and giving an instrument rest means making it thoroughly inactive. Like your car is parked outside, it is thoroughly inactive, engine is also switched off, now it is getting some rest, isn't it? So in meditation also we bundle our body in a particular posture, which is called comfortable posture, and don't do much of activity. And also, we want to bring our mind also to a state when it is thoroughly inactive. So, our attempt is to bring body and mind thoroughly inactive so that they are at restful state. That way, body, sleep, and meditation have similarity. Yet they are different as well. Of course, we know it. Let's look at some of their features. In sleep, we are unconscious. We have no awareness unless you are dreaming. And in Vedic philosophy, sleep means deep sleep, dreamless sleep, isn't it? Otherwise, we call it as a dream state. So, Jagyat Avastha means I am awake. Swapna Avastha, when I am bodily inactive but mind is active, dream state. But when we say Sushupti, deep sleep, then both body and mind are deeply at restful state, inactive state. So unless otherwise, this by the word sleep, I will mean deep sleep, Sushupti, without dreams. So in Sushupti, in deep sleep, I am unconscious. There is a kind of blackout, and Patanjali has also said, Vittaya Panchaya Klishta, five modifications to mind, and one of them was Vidya. So as if the instrument is there, but somehow it is not functioning. Some superior force has just switched off all kinds of, basic lights, all powerhouses switched off, something like that. That is why I am lying down. I lie down in my bed to gain sleep. But in meditation, we want to preserve our consciousness. That is why we adopt a sitting posture. We don't lie down for meditation. Sleep cycles, as sleep scientists point out, though I may sleep for 6, 7, 8 hours, it constitutes certain integral number of sleep cycle. Each cycle is about 100 to 120 minutes long, and it goes through certain spectrum, 4 or 5 phases: rapid eye movement, non-rapid eye movement, stage 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. There is one segment which is called delta stage or fourth stage of non-rapid eye movement, that is considered as deep sleep, when the brain waves are very lowest amplitude, and that is what gives deep relaxation. So what I am saying here is, if your meditation practice improves, comes to a level that you can go for meditation about 20 minutes, you are deep in meditation, that may compare with so much of brain inactivity as it corresponds with delta stage of sleep. Then I would say that In 20 minutes of meditation, you have gained that much of mental relaxation what you would gain in one sleep cycle. So probably 2 weeks ago, I did ask some of you if you were seeing that due to meditation practice in the daytime, you have already gained some mental relaxation, some sort of dissipation of your mental fatigue. Now, sleep has to do less work, so you need less hours of sleep, isn't it? And that is why I asked you if some of you are feeling that you need to sleep less hours, and indeed some of you said, yes, I because this is slightly more efficient mechanism, and there are many other things happening because your sleep is also getting deeper and it is also becoming easier to get into sleep. Your overall sleep hours will be reducing and you will be more refreshed. So, that is why I tell new meditation practitioners yes, in the beginning you have to invest some time, but you will gain that time back after a few weeks of practice. Let's move on. Sleep dissipates fatigue of the day. What fatigue body and mind instruments have picked up, that is dissipated so that next morning you are refreshed. Meditation also does the same, dissipates fatigue of the day, but it goes much more. And now, as we are getting into we are already in the second phase of this course, you will see it that maybe I just point out today, I call it a wonderful concept of servicing of your mind. So, in your sleep, mind just gains relaxation. But deep in meditation, your mind gains relaxation as well as if there is a wonderful, that infinite soul is a wonderful mechanic who is servicing your mind, washes out your mind. And one day you will realize it. That is why I am so fascinated with this Patanjali yoga and meditation, because this is the only way to wash your mind. There is no other way we can wash our mind. We know how to wash our body. Nobody knows how to wash his mind. This is the only way you can wash your mind. When you are deep in meditation, that Paramatma is washing your mind and is removing all kinds of unwanted things which might have gone into your mind. Sleep is mandatory, but meditation is discretionary. Every human being, even animals and birds, go for sleep. And that is indirectly saying if you are not learning meditation, you are not making the unique gift of the human life. As a human being, you can do meditation. If you don't do it, you are I won't say that, but you are still leading like what an animal's life is. So that is the advantage we have as a human being. That's why there has been so much emphasis right in our classical times from Vedic rishis that you have to do meditation. That's what they call sandhya, samyak purvak dhyan, morning and evening, twice a day. Everybody did it. So that's what our tradition is, and we should. So meditation is beyond sleep. We should continue. So as a meditation practitioner, it doesn't make sense if you're sleep. You have to make it good sleep, and then only you can hope that your meditation will be good practice. And the good news is that one helps another. If you are learning meditation, your sleep will improve, and if you are sleeping better, it will be easier for you to practice meditation. Okay, this is a slide we have seen again previously as well. Meditation is not an isolated act. Meditation is like watering the root of our root, and that will, if you give water to the root of a plant, it shows up everywhere in its leaves and branches and fruits and flowers everywhere. It gives you physical energy throughout the day. You are feeling more energetic, decluttering of mind. And in red color, I am pointing out this. If somebody here is noticing this thing, now, as I was saying, your mind is washed out. You become more interested in, if there is a hierarchy of information, knowledge, and wisdom, you want to go into focus of real thing. So you are not getting lost into an ocean of information explosion today. Today is the world of information explosion. You can spend hours and hours on internet, television, and whatnot, seeking to know many things. But now you, as a meditation practitioner, you have become more interested in deeper things. You are not just interested in superficial information. And Hajan, now I am asking you a question. Have you noticed that you are taking less interest in newspapers and television and so many other things which are source of news? If you were earlier devoting, say, 30 minutes on something, now you devote much less time on that. Is anybody like that? Please raise your hand. Yes, quite a few people raising their hands. In my life also, there was a time I would devote 40 minutes on a day's newspaper. But when I got into this spiritual journey, now I barely devote 2 minutes. I just see on my phone the headlines. That's it. Not more than 2 minutes. Because, that is not doesn't deserve that much time. So these are the changes you will be seeing in yourself. So many things are happening. Just be observant. Focus and clarity, efficiency at work, sleep, we have discussed. It should be easier to enter into sleep, and probably you are experiencing deeper sleep also now. Let's move on to our formal meditation. We are devoting next 15 minutes. I set an alarm for 10:45 in my clock. My Let's take the body posture. I'll go to my webinar moderator room. Let's review our body posture. Spreading out both the feet, just to help you recall how we have learned all this. The Sukhasana was very simple. Just bring your two knees together, 2 feet together. First, left one or right one. Just be sensitive to your natural instinct. If somebody asks you, why are you learning meditation? What are you gaining from it? I think the one short answer is, I want to be natural. As you are learning meditation, you will become natural human being. You will be very sensitive to your own inner signals, including body signals, mind signals. So though we take a body posture, go deep in meditation in our inward journey, but if there is a body signal, some adjustments wants to be made, be sensitive to all this. Now I just described that Siddhasana, left foot inward, the heel is on the center line. At the lowest point, there is a soft spot there. Again, by experience, you will know it, where to touch and how much to touch. Not to press it hard there. This is very soft spot. Just touch it barely there. And as I said, gradually you will have sensitivity and you will know it, how to do the right thing. The foot is touching the right thigh. That was step one. On the left side, between the thigh and the calf, there is a valley here where my fingers are tracing through. Now I fold, second step, the right foot inward so that this part of the foot just gets tucked into my left valley. But in so doing, you will see my left knee is touching the ground while the right knee is slightly above the ground, and that is the correction I will make in the next step. I use my right hand, the palm facing me. On the right side also there is a valley between the thigh and the calf. This is the valley, and I let my palm pass through it. I hold my biggest toe of the left foot. I pull it up gently. It becomes visible now, as you can see, probably. But in the process, my right knee is touching the ground. So it becomes a wonderful posture called Siddhasana. I like it so much. I have sometimes think how Vedic rishis cooked up all these things. They were so natural, probably. But the final step, the right foot here, I lock it well into this valley. So that whole lower part of the body, all the lower limbs are locked into one entity, and you just feel good. You shake away any stiffness in your shoulder, neck. It's a wonderful appointment with that cosmic entity. Do it very, feel good when you are doing all this. As if you want to meet somebody whom you love most. That is body posture. 3 cycles of deep breathing integrated with pranayam mantra that we have learned yesterday. I will recite slightly loudly, but you will do it mentally. Deep breathe out. Om Bhu, Om Bhuva, Om Swa. Breathe in. Om Bhu, Om Bhuva, Om Swa, Om Maha, Om Jana, Om Tapa, Om Sati. Breathe out. Om Bhu, Om Bhuva, Om Swa. Breathe in. Om Bhu, Om Bhuva, Om Swa, Om Maha, Om Jana, Om Tapa, Om Satyam. One more last cycle. Breathe out. Om Bhu, Om Bhuva, Om Swa. Breathe in. Om Bhu, Om Bhuva, Om Swa, Om Maha, Om Jana, Om Tapa. Wait for a few moments for our breathing to become normal. What indeed we are doing is we let our body do the breathing in its automated manner. In pranayam, I was doing the breathing, but now I am not concerned with it. I leave it for my body to do it. Now the third step, you might be noticing I am still adjusting my body frame. Now we are going into the inner part of the inward journey. We instruct our mind with that sound, reciting 5 times together. As soon as the sound is over, we focus the mind in between the two eyebrows. Half a minute or so, once it is settled there, we walk deep into the sky that exists in our forehead and just get lost there into nothingness. And if a thought wave strikes, we re-instruct our mind with that same sound mentally. Let's recite together 5 times. Om. So we can gradually open our eyes. That was our session number 8. Thank you for joining us. See you next week.